Season 1, Cup number 1 here. We've got the American qualifiers. I'm so happy to be here. We've got Typical Mistakes versus Team Swag. Once again, thank you for joining us. My name is Maut. With me is B-Ball. And how are you today, sir?
I'm doing quite well, as I know I have a lot of shoes to fill with the inimitable Grand Grant not being here, but I will do my best, as this should be a pretty interesting matchup, and I'm always a huge fan of promoting American Dota because, you know what? We live in America, we gotta make it work.
That's so true. I mean, just American Dota, we need more American teams, guys. Come on, get out there, form some teams. Let's play in some cups like this. And I'm really excited to see this. We've got Typical Mistakes, a team that I'm pretty familiar with. A lot of players. I play with them consistently. I've watched them consistently. Versus some wacky SGs, a team that I'm actually not too familiar with. But we're going to get into the big band phase real quick here, as this is, of course, the first game of the night. We have a round of 32, round of 16, as well as the quarterfinals for you guys tonight. And then we'll move on tomorrow with the semifinals and a best-of-3 finals here. Remember, this is Cup number 1, so there's 4 cups, and then we've got a nice little group stage to round everything out, as well as some playoffs for the American qualifiers. That'll bring everybody over to the LAN event, whoever does end up qualifying. But we're going to talk about this game real quick. We're going to see the Nakes as well as the Lone Druid band coming out from some wacky SGs, as well as, of course, typical mistakes. They've got the Bat Rider, the Nyx Assassin. Magnus going to be picked up here for Swag, and typical mistakes. They're going to go for Wisp as well as something else. Rubik for the first pickup right now. So Magnus, that reverse polarity could potentially be stolen here from Rubik. And what do you think about double support pickup from the side of typical mistakes right now?
I mean, it's definitely an interesting composition, as Rubik is definitely a very powerful hero who can really potentially steal the RP, turn a team fight around. Wisp, of course, is a very dynamic hero who thrives on less organized environments, but overall in the grand scheme of things, I'm not really too sure if I like this dual support pickup, just because this will be the tri lane most likely, unless Typical Mistakes decides to run a dual lane mid with Wisp and CK or something like that. And this tri lane, for the most part, is extremely weak, so if Swag manages to sort of get the appropriate heroes in place, they will be able to easily crush this tri lane. Rubik does not do much damage. Wisp is known for being an extremely weak tri lane hero, and that is why in a lot of situations Wisp is not really perceived as a first pick or first ban material. But we'll have to see. It depends on what Swag decide to do, but if I were them, I'd look to challenge this lane as aggressively as possible, because really there's not too much that Typical Mistakes can do to sort of win over the lane just with these two heroes alone.
No, I definitely agree with you, and I think Shadow Demon is going to provide some of that damage if they decide to go tri-lane versus tri-lane or something like that. If you look at Typical Mistakes lineup right now, with the Wisp and the Rubik, you mentioned there isn't a whole lot of damage coming out from them, and I got to agree, and I think that they play this in a defensive tri-lane posture, which is certainly something that I'm not really sure about. I think that Wisp, in conjunction with another hero, can do really great, like with the CK, if you get quick level 6, but I mean, with the Rubik, it's just not, there's not a whole lot of damage here, and already I think they kind of got forced into that Rubik pick because of the Magnus, and now Darkster is going to be coming up from Swag as well. So they already have 2 extraordinarily strong team fighting heroes. Typical Mistakes just have really 2 support heroes at this point. They can pick up something here that maybe make their lives a little bit easier. Maybe pick up a puck, but they're going to go for that Chaos Knight, and they're going to just round out that tri-lane. And they really wanted that tri-lane, and I'm not 100% sure about it as well. So definitely an interesting lineup right now. I gotta give it to Swag, though. I've got to give this lineup early on. I know there's still another ban phase as well as pick phase, but I mean, Darkseer and Magnus, pretty strong in conjunction with one another. Shadow Demon as well, just a really great support all around. But we're gonna get into some more bans here, and if you're on the side of Swag, you probably just ban out, you know, solo laners at this point, mid heroes as well as the off laners, and just make sure that you get rid of all of those heroes, like the Puck, which would be really good up against the Magnus. And Typical Mistakes, they're probably going to get rid of some carries as well as a support or 2 here and there. So we'll have to see how that does pan out. But yeah, like you said, I'm not really sure with this Chaos Knight how it's going to really go for them in that lane.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like Typical Mistakes are actually forced into the Chaos Knight, which is never really an option you want to go with, just because Chaos Knight, he doesn't have that innate fire mechanism, he doesn't even have the Magnus to give him power, so if he does get behind, he will remain behind, and these heroes can build very, very tanky, so Chaos Knight might have a bit of an issue going with them, but I feel like Typical Mistakes want to sort of put the threat into the mind of Swag, just saying, alright, we could potentially run this middle, but even then, Magnus, I feel like, can do a fine job against with CK mid, so I do have to agree, this will probably be a defensive try. And right now, Swag, they do have a component in the form of the Shadow Demon for challenging them if they do want to go on the aggressive, and they could also use the Shadow Demon to potentially roam if they decide to go defensive, so the Shadow Demon is going to be the linchpin in the early game. Typical Mistakes, they're really not going to roam whatsoever. Wisp and Rubik, really not strong roamers. So again, I have to agree with you. Swag really has the advantage in terms of dictating the flow of the game, and Swag, interesting enough, going to ban out the Silencer, so I guess they really fear the disruption capability that Silencer can cause in teamfights, and of course he is extremely annoying to deal with in the middle lane. But yeah, we're going to see typical mistakes ban out the Keeper of the Light. So again, another issue is that when it comes down to the late game, just because Chaos Knight can't really farm that fast, it's going to be a bit of an issue for Typical Mistakes to break the base against a Magnus as well as a Darkseer. So Typical Mistakes, they're going to have to gank, and they're going to have to gank hard, but if they don't manage to accomplish that, it's going to be very difficult to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. And they do have the perfect utility for ganking, but the problem being is that you need to get some levels, I think, on that CK, and especially the Wisp, you need to get level 6 before you can start being effective with that relocate. And you mentioned a really good point. Rubik and Wisp definitely not going to be that great in roaming. I mean, Wisp is not going to do a whole lot for you roaming mid trying to get a gank there, and whereas the Shadow Demon certainly can set a whole lot of stuff up. Now, the question is, what do they go on the side of Swag for their second support, and what do they go for their carry right now? I mean, there's still plenty of carries in the pool. As you can see, Typical Mistakes is banning out a lot of support heroes, which is a good idea, but I think they're leaving a few really crucial carries up as well. So,
yeah, I was actually going to say, because the supports that Typical Mistakes are banning out are really, they're decent Shrine heroes. Disruptor, of course, is quite strong against Wisp, but if Swag does decide to go defense with their Tri-Lane, I mean, then you won't really roam with the Disruptor or Keeper. So, I don't know, this might actually play into Swag's hand a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to have to see. 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the reserve time for Typical Mistakes. They're going to get their last ban going, and we've got 2 more picks to go, and then we're going to jump into the game. Clockwork banned out from Swag. We're going to see the Jakiro ban. So all support bans here. There's kind of they have the pick of the litter for Swag for their carries right now. They can really go with whatever they want. There's like a Luna, Phantom Lancer. I mean, there's a whole lot of, Gyrocopter even. There's plenty of options here to go if you are on Swag, and you've got to feel pretty comfortable with this draft right now. I feel like they are owning this draft up, I think. With Typical Mistakes, they got forced sort of into that tri-lane a little bit with that Rubik, and I don't know about that Wisp pickup. I'm not really sure how I feel about it at this point. If they can get some early game ganks off, if they can get quick level 6, then it'll be good. They're going to go for a Sand King on that at that second support for Swag. There might have been some better options available, but something like Alino or I think Electrek might have been good in this scenario, but Sand King works just as well, of course. A little bit more difficult. Nature's Prophet going to come out for Typical Mistakes. They have a lot of global presence here, and that's a good pickup for them. I'm surprised that actually got through this far, and that's really, they really actually need that. I think that is a good hero, given the pool that they've got to pick with here. And then Anti-Mage coming out from Swag. They're all about the anti-fun right now, and oh boy, this is going to be interesting. I got to say, I'm looking forward to see who can really get the most farm here. I think Anti-Mage should be able to win that battle, but I don't know. This is a weird tri-lane kind of with Shadow Demon, Sand King, Anti-Mage. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and this really indicates that Swag will actually not go on the offensive, and that might be a mistake. You always want to challenge Wisp Trial, because if Wisp does manage to get going, then he can punish you. And Sand King, of course, is very survivable. Pretty much all the heroes on side of Swag are quite survivable, but still, you do have a lot of chasing potential to catch up with the Anti-Mage, and of course, Nature's Prophet could build into something fast like an Orchid, which is a lot cheaper than the Hex. So if they manage to get a fast Orchid going for the Nature's Prophet, Typical Mistakes definitely have a lot of options in dealing with them, and they also have some of their own split push to counteract the split pushing of Swag. So I'm really a bit puzzled by the Anti-Mage choice, and of course Sand King, as support, I feel like he's really overrated, which is why we don't really see him that often, just because Epicenter doesn't really get better as the game goes on. It gets worse because heroes get more and more HP, and Sand King will have a lot of difficulty finding those levels, find that money for the dagger in order to make the best use of his ultimate. He's a decent roamer, he has a nice initiation with the stun, so I think in order for this dual support for Swag to really make an impact, they're going to have to roam very early on, and we'll see if Typical Mistakes, what they're going to do in regards to challenging the Anti-Mage in the lane, because again, even though Anti-Mage could be shut down potentially, they do have the Empower. They have a Battle Fury most likely on the Anti-Mage that can be built. So Anti-Mage can farm ridiculously quick, and we're going to see a Ricky. We're going to see Ricky Wisp, and this is a fan favorite combination, and I actually am quite a big fan of Ricky in this lineup. The smoke will just do wonders.
Yeah, I've seen them do this kind of lineup before with the Wisp, with the Riki, and they've done absolutely fantastic with it. And I got to say, I really love that pickup. It's very surprising. You're not really expecting it. In combination, you get that smoke screen on the Anti-Mage. And in fact, on a lot of these heroes, it kind of makes them sort of not necessarily worthless, but just it's going to make it a little bit more difficult on this side, of course, of Swag. That being said, like you said, in the defensive tri-lane, I agree with you 100% on that Sand King. He is going to have a tough time getting that Blink Dagger, getting the farm for it, getting the levels as well to get that Epicenter up. Whereas down in that bottom lane, you really don't need a whole lot of farm or experience, I guess, on some of these heroes. And it looks like right now, I think they do want to dual lane mid. They have Pandago here with that Wisp and, of course, Rebrews as well. But In the meantime, we're going to get some introductions going here for the side of typical mistakes. We've got Cakes on the Nature's Prophet. Going to see Pandago on the Io, or the Wisp, if you will. Ryuberus will be on the Chaos Knight. Going to see Fan of Soyon on the Riki. And to finish it off, I'm a Sheep Sucks will be on the Rubik. On the side of Swag, we've got the Jesus on Darkseer. Static will be on Shadow Demon. Smirzitzo on the Sand King. Blink on the Magnus, and to round it out, Xylo will be on the Anti-Mage as we get a pause right now. So yeah, it does look kind of like Io wants to go mid with Ryuberus, and we kind of dismissed that dual lane mid early on. But of course, with this Riki peek up, they're going to send him down there with that Rubik. And what do you think about if they decide to do that? I'm just saying, yeah, if they decide to do that, and I'm right about this, what do you think about the dual lane mid?
I mean, they sort of had to do it because they had to pick up a Riki in order to sort of round up their lineup. This lane, for the most part, I don't think it can really kill the Magnus. Magnus should be able to hold his own if he just gets like 1 or 2 points into skewer very early on. As long as he plays very, very carefully, I think Magnus should be doing okay, but I don't think he can really contest the CK in terms of farm without any sort of roaming support. And just because Riki, for the most part, I mean, I guess we'll have to see how the Jesus will handle this lane, because now he's going to face a dual lane on the bottom lane. He can sort of afford to stay in there, spam the Iron Shell, and not go to the jungle very early on. So if he does that, that will force the supports to remain in the bottom lane. So I don't think this dual lane mid will really accomplish too much, but it will ensure some levels for the Wisp, which he definitely does need. He won't get it fast enough in the tri lane, and then dual lane, of course, he gets experience a lot more quickly. But overall, this should be a very passive game for the early parts, even though with the CK with dual lane, you do expect to have kills early on.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be the important thing, is just, like you said, getting those levels on that Wisp and make sure that he can get to level 6, get the relocate up, and get some ganks going. The bottom lane right now made a very good point about that Darkseer. He's not going to have to head in that jungle. If he's going up against a tri-lane, yes, I think he probably goes into that jungle and he probably just tries to farm up level 4 real quick. I'm a Sheep Sucks is going to take an Invis rune. They're going to look for First Blood here in the mid lane right now. As you're going to see Magnus, he's going to sit pretty far back. He knows this is a dual lane right now. Ryuberus hasn't skilled his first point into anything just yet. Probably going to be in that Chaos Bolt, maybe in Reality Rift, depends on what they want to go for, if they need any gap closing. Pandago's just sitting pretty far behind the tower. He's not going to show himself just yet. That Invis for I'm a Sheep, not going to get spotted out yet. In the meantime, though, top lane, Xylo going to continue on farming, but I do want to keep my eyes peeled mid as well as bottom, as we're going to get going here. And so really, they just need to make sure that Reavers can try to get free farm. Reality Rift going to go in. There's the Wisp stun coming in. Telekinesis as well. They don't have any Chaos Bolt right now. Is there a skewer? Yes, there is. Going to skewer back into tower range right now. Blink in some trouble, taking a lot of damage. Should it be enough? The salve is canceled. It's going to be First Blood for the Wisp. Now Reavers taking a lot of damage from that tower. He has a salve of his own. He's going to pop it off. And that's going to be the end of First Blood, but Pandago taking some more tower hits, but they're going to back off, and a very, very well executed First Blood coming out from the side of typical mistakes.
Yeah, that was really nicely done, although Blake should have really suspected that, as he did have that ward there on the bottom lane. I think, it does give the rune, even though it is a little bit sort of out of place, but it should have enough vision to give you side of the rune. I'm not too sure if the timing was sort of appropriate enough that it managed to catch I'm a Sheep Sucks taking that rune, but that is a huge victory, because Wisp will definitely make great usage of that gold. Already has the bottle on his person already, gonna get the boots, gonna probably get the urn, and Magnus, he is a hero that's gonna be very, very important in this game. He managed to get himself a fast dagger or something like that. You can really sort of counter gank the Wisp ganks, which are usually so effective, but being hurt down this early on is definitely gonna cause a bit of a problem. But so far, for the other lanes on the side of the Dire, they seem to be handling themselves pretty nicely. Again, Nature's Prophet really can't do too much on that top lane. They can't really stop the anti-mage whatsoever. And Shadow Demon, knowing that there is a dual lane mid, knowing that it is bit more difficult to gank those two heroes, especially with the Wisp in there, and especially with the tanky hero like the CK, is just going to actually try to get as much experience as possible. But we're going to have to see something happen for the Dire supports, because really, again, why we don't see Wisp in certain situations is because he can be potentially shut down lane, but if he does manage to get the levels, and if you are unlucky enough to be grouped apart, which you often are in a split pushing lineup, that Wisp could have a huge influence on the game, which is definitely something that Swag wants to avoid at all costs.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And you talked about how Cakes is going to have some trouble in that top lane. It looks like he's just going to abandon it altogether and just go into the jungle. That's going to make his life a whole lot easier in terms of getting levels, getting farm. He did stack the Ancients up once before he headed down to the jungle there. They have this lane warded here up in the top lane.
Oh, Histron on Darkseer. No, just going to do a bit of harassment. Can't really do too much with that.
Yeah, I mean, he's sitting here alone. They do have that telekinesis, so they can just throw him back.
Oh, middle lane, Reality Rift and Chaos Bolt were used, but Magnus just manages to get the Chaos Knight. They initiate with Reality Rift, but the Skewer and the Magnus tanky HP, which is something I did mention. The tank ability of the Magnus is just a big problem for this Chaos Knight Wisp dual lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to give him his bottle right now. So he's got that roaming through. There's a smoke up on Static right now. Pandago's got to sit by the tower. He should be okay. Top lane, a little bit of a dive here coming out from Zilu. Kix is going to try to turn on him a little bit, do some damage. Zilu still has enough mana to blink, plenty of it actually. But here comes potentially a gank coming out from the Shadow Demon. He does get spotted out right now, I think. He will have that smoke go away. They're going to look for a disruption. There it goes. Reality Rift first. Disruption's going to go instead. Wisp Spirits are going. There's Reality Rift. Static is now in some trouble. He went a little too early right there. As you can see, he's going to go down to the Spirits. Wisp going to get that kill. And no help coming up from Blink at all. He's just like, all right, man, you made that mistake. I'm not going to help you here. So he's going to go down, unfortunately. Blink, no help there. And that's going to be a nice little kill going for the Wisp once again. I'm not really sure what was going on there. I think they wanted to try to initiate, try to get something going with Blink, but unfortunately it didn't happen, so...
Yeah, and even though it is sort of difficult to kill the Magnus, it is extremely difficult to kill with CK, as CK is naturally very, very tanky, and he can do a lot of damage.
The Jesus in some trouble right now. Smoke screen's going to go. They have telekinesis available. They need to use it for this kill. There it goes. Goody. He's got available. Right clicks. One more. There it goes. And of course, Rubik is going to be able to take up that kill right now. The support's getting plenty of kills as well as assists. Levels, of course, coming out for them as well on the side of Typical Mistakes. They're playing so well. 3-1 the score. And that Darkseid should not really have gone down in a dual lane, I think. So just getting caught out of position a little bit there. A little bit of a mistake, unfortunately, but that's all right. He'll be fine. He'll get back into lane in just a moment. And yeah, talked about the supports levels. I mean, Shadow Demon at level 2 right now. He is the lowest in the game in comparison to all of the other supports right now in the lineup for both teams. So
I think this Darkseid is really respecting the Rubik way too much, as he did save the Surge, which is really nicely done. The Rubik, of course, waited as long as possible to cast Telekinesis, but Darkseid should not be level 4 compared to a level 5 Riki in this sort of solo versus dual lane matchup, especially against Rubik, who can't really output too much damage. Of course, the smoke screen makes life very, very difficult, but we are going to see a ward dropped, and the Radiant are fully aware that the ward has been dropped. They're going to ping immediately, going to try to de-ward that. But Riki being level 6 compared to a Darkseid only being level 4, this is just way too much respect being shown to the Riki and the Rubik. And now that Riki is level 6, you sort of have to respect him because he can be anywhere, and you really just are going to be very, very on edge, as we're going to see actually a gank coming from the bottom lane.
Yep. There's going to be, of course, that Wisp tether coming in. Surge already used right now. Smoke screen's going to slow it down there, doing some more backstab damage. He needs to blink strike in if he can. Telekinesis will hit, and Riki's going to pick up that kill. And yeah, like you said, I mean, there is always that danger there. And of course, they did have this vision right now here in the jungle, but it wasn't in time to spot it. That tether coming from a long range away, and of course Riki just having that invisibility can position himself as effectively as he needs to. And they're not even going to counter ward there. I actually don't know if they have any sentries. It looks like they do on the Wisp. They're going to pick up of course, that regen bottled up there. And mid, Static's rotated mid. He's trying to get some levels for himself right now. Cakes went up to the top lane. He's heading back down to the mid lane, as you can see. So there's 4 heroes here in the mid lane right now for Typical Mistakes. Ryu Brews is sitting at 27 CS at this point, 36 for the Anti-Mage. So Anti-Mage is doing pretty good. So that's where they're going to be, I think, in the best position in terms of the Dire side right now. Good. He's going to try to get out of here, top or bottom lane, excuse me. The Jesus chasing after
middle lane. There's going to be a huge engagement as Shadow Demon will get initiated. RP is going to catch everybody. Holy crap! A skewer backwards. It's going to skewer right into tower range. But the Chaos Knight is just too damn tanky. Sheep Sucks will just be able to escape on a sliver of HP. Blink gonna end up perishing as well. A huge initiation. RP caught 3 people, but there was no damage coming out from the side of the Dire.
Yeah, and I mean, Rubik is extraordinarily low. He's going to head back to base, but somehow he will survive out of that top lane. This does give some room for Zilu to farm a little bit more, but they are not going to push this tower. It's too low or it's not low enough, excuse me, for them to push it right now. Pandago's going to rotate back through. It looks like they want to go again. This time on Static, he's still level 3. They can go again. Cakes is here. He's got Sprout. Looks for a Reality Rift, maybe. Are they going to dive this? Yes, they are. Reality Rift is going to get canceled. There's the disruption, getting caught out. Now Tower Dive still going. Tether stun. Chaos Bolt, too much damage. Skewer coming back in. Blink. He doesn't have his reverse art. He used it, but Ryuber is very low in health. He's still not going to chase. There's 3 heroes there, but 2 now with the Jesus coming in on the side of the Dire. And I think that should be the end of the aggression right there. And they just saw Static rotate right back through, and he's just like, all right, well, you guys are... You're pretty squishy. We're just going to kill you. So Static, of course, having a tough time this game right now. Of course, he's sitting still at level 3, very low in levels, very low in, of course, tankiness. He doesn't have any real farm, any gold or anything like that. Can't buy a brace or anything. 7-1 the score. Typical Mistakes taking a ton of kills right now. Still no towers going or anything like that. But at this point, they've got a nice lead. If we look at the graphs real quick, 1,000 experience, 3,000 in gold. This early on is pretty nice. Fan of Soyan does have his Mask of Madness right now down in the bottom lane. And, of course, still level 8. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Sheep Sucks has rotated through, and everything's looking gravy for them at this point.
Yeah, it might even turn a little bit better for them as Wisp is very, very close to hitting that level 6 as we're going to see engaging on the top lane. I'm Sheep Sucks going to get Burrow Strike. Here comes the anti-mage doing a lot of damage with the help of that. Drops the Mana Void, not enough. And actually the Chaos Knight does manage to rotate in. That anti-mage miscalculation of the Mana Void might end up costing him as here comes the teleport in by Nature's Prophet. Sand King just going to scuttle on out of there. Zeal will be able to escape, but Stack will most assuredly pay for his efforts as he is going to die yet again. Sand King's going to rotate back through, try and dish out whatever right-click damage he can do, but it really is just not enough as they're going to see a rotation by the Wisp, looking to perhaps spill more blood.
Right now. They're going to keep going at this. There's going to be the Reality Rift on Zilu. He's taking too much damage. He has that blink. He should be able to get out in time, but this is very quick. He's got Cast Bolt for Zilu, and there it goes, and Pandago is going to say, nope, I'll just take it with my spirits. In the meantime, Swag keeps on moving through, and they tried to fight that, but I mean, the rotations were there right on time from the Wisp. Wisp is now level 6. He has Relocate, he has Earn as well, and now this is where the game starts to get really fun, I think, for the side of Typical Mistakes. Swag definitely in some trouble. Anti-Mage going down, certainly not what they wanted. They have a Perseverance on him, but they need more. Reality Rift, there's going to be the Tether Stun as well. Chaos Bolt, 2-second stun, and Chaos Knight picks up his second kill of the game. And man, they are just dominating right now in terms of kills, in terms of map control, and as soon as they get some towers here, they're going to be in an even better position. It's 11-1, and all the while, Fan of Soren is continuing to farm down here in the bottom lane, and it looks like Swag is just sort of a little bit uncoordinated at this point. Case will TP into the mid lane right now, but at this point in time, we're going to need to see some big fights from Swag for them to get back into this game.
Definitely. Again, it's pretty difficult for Typical Mistakes actually to break the base, but when they have 11-1 kill lead, when they're vastly outfarming the enemy team, you're going to have the items needed to break the base. And also, keep in mind on the bottom lane, Ricky did have a Mask of Madness. He managed to kill off the Darkseer. Darkseer bought back while that huge engagement on the top lane was going on, but he couldn't do anything, and that is going to cost the Darkseer a lot, as we're going to see Magnus perhaps get engaged upon on the middle lane. Ricky is waiting in the wings, trying to make something happen. But yeah, we're starting to see the problem with this sort of support Sand King. He does need levels, but I feel like he's pulling way too much, as Sand King, he is a good roamer just because it's so easy to hit multiple targets with that Burrow Strike, but he hasn't roamed at all this game, and now, of course, it's way too late.
Tether, 3-second stun on Zilu. Zilu shouldn't be able to get out of this one. Yeah, he's going to go down again. Chaos Knight there for the kill once again, and so they just roam right back up, not even using Relocate for that kill. And his supports are nowhere to be found.
Oh, Magnus on the jungle. Gonna get caught out by a Mask of Madness. Ricky, I'm a Sheep Suck once again. Gonna take that kill for his troubles. And meanwhile, the Wisp Chaos Knight aggression does not end.
He's in some trouble right now. Smirtso, he's going to take some damage as well. He's going to try to use that Fog Vision. Now he's going to Burrow Strike out, but can they chase him here? Tether is up and available. They can tether somebody, get somebody going right now. They have plenty of CS here. Case is going to TP in, looking for that Sprout. He's going to hit it right now. There it goes. Nope, don't even need it. I'm a Sheep Sucks taking that kill with, of course, the Shockwave Steal. Nice job there. They're going to rotate through mid. It's 15-1 right now at 11 minutes, into the game. And 65 CS for Goody as well on top of that. Looking at the net worth chart, he's leading away with 5,000 pretty much in gold. Of course, the experience graph, almost 7,500. Gold, same. And they're going to take a tower as well. Looks like, nope, there's going to be Fortification. TP coming in for Blink. He's got Reverse Polarity, but of course there is that Chaos Bolt and Reality Rift. They want to chase this. Anti-Mage is here as well. I'm a Sheep just trying to zone here. Riki in the meantime getting a kill on the bottom lane, of course, with that Mask of Madness going on that Darkseer again, but they want to try to take this tower mid. Reavers is going to back off. Blink looking for that Reverse Polarity. Something is stolen. Looks like it was Blink from that Rubik there. And they will take that tower mid with the Nature's Prophet getting it. Now Reavers is going to back off. Zilu and Blink trying to play up here. Meanwhile, Pandago's here with I'm a Sheep Sucks. They're going to rotate on somebody. Smirtso going to throw down that ward. They're going to spot out the Rubik as well as the Wisp immediately. Down in the bottom lane, Riki's still trying to farm through, but it looks like another engagement's going to have the mid shortly. Yeah, there it goes. Reality Rift as well as the Cast Bolt going to come. No, Reverse Polarity. They're looking for it. Nice Tether Stun coming in. Only grabbing the Wisp with that Reverse Polarity right now. Stolen I'm a Sheep Sucks. Reverse Polarity's blinking some trouble. Telekinesis. There's the wall going out as well. Reavers taking a lot of damage. There's the Skewer. Still, Reavers somehow still alive. 2 seconds still. They're getting the kill on Blink right now. And now they're going to go on to Jesus. It's very low as well. Double kill for the Rubik as well. 3 down now on the side of Swag, and it's 19-1. Cake still chasing, and now I think that's going to be the end of it as the wall does go down. And actually, they're going to relocate back home real quick, get them some HP back up on Reavers, and it's 19-1 as they take another tower in the bottom lane. Swag, this is almost, I don't want to say insurmountable, but it's going to be very difficult.
At the very least, as this is just really, really dominating by Typical Mistakes. Keep in mind, Ricky has not been there for any of the team fights, and that Cloud, of course, will do a lot of work. Ricky is actually going to ship himself up almost completed S and Y, as he does have the Asha, almost has that Sanj, as me on the jungle. Anti-Mage does find himself assassinated yet again, and that is the problem with Wisp against a split push lineup. You will always be sort of spread apart, and now with wards in the dire jungle, it's just going to be so very difficult to actually keep the Anti-Mage farming, especially against Ricky, who can always sort of come in. As you're going to see, Sheep Sucks got to read or get the telekinesis, but not able to get any sort of backup, as Magnus, I think Sheep Sucks is just having a little bit of fun. He knew he couldn't kill anybody.
He's just trying to dance around this. I mean, he knows that he essentially can survive. He used the burrow strike that he stole, of course, from the Sand King right now. He's got great positioning. There's a double damage rune in the top rune spot right now. It looks like Riki wants to take that, and he probably will. Meanwhile, of course, the anti-mage was super low when he got ganked in the jungle. I'm not sure what he was thinking about doing. They don't have really the tower presence that he can kind of hide behind. Even if they do have did have a tier 1 tower mid, there's going to be engagement mid right now. Oh, Goody just doing so much damage with that DD rune. Meanwhile, Skewer out, Disruption out, going, of course, on the Riki right now. Cake's going to try to back out. Mana Void is going to go. Sheep Sucks taking a lot of damage. He's in some trouble. Triple kill for Goody, though. In the meantime, Zilu taking more damage. Ultra kill for, of course, the Riki, and he's going to pick up another one. They're going to continue on going. That's definitely going to be a tier 2 tower. A team wipe as well. Swag going down 25-2. They only have 2 kills on the board. 14 minutes into the game. What can you say? I mean,
this is almost illegal. I don't know if this can be uploaded anywhere because it might violate the YouTube service of copyright, as this is just getting brutal. But there's really, at this point, now that everybody's so tanky, everybody's so high leveled, there's really not too much that Sai can do. And of course, it's difficult breaking into the base, but I mean, it doesn't really matter when you have such a huge lead. They're going to get another tier 2 tower, and with the anti-mage essentially being pretty much useless at this point, it's not really that big of a hope for a comeback at this point.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the anti-mage and what he's got, just regular boots, just perseverance and 2 GG branches, not even really close to that that Battle Fury, which, I mean, he's been trying to tirelessly farm away. Blink, he's only got brown boots as well. He does have Skewer, he does have reverse polarity, but Sheep Sucks, he's going to steal that shockwave, and they're going to look for another tower. Looks like they want to go for tier 2 bottom, and why not just take all the towers available to you at this point? I mean, looking at the experience advantage, 15,000 at 15 minutes in the game. That's a lot. Almost 20,000 for gold as well. And Case, of course, has that Hand of Midas finished up. It was a little bit late. Doesn't really matter at this point. Ryu Bruise has his armlet. He's got a bracer. He's got 2,000 gold in the bank. Wisp even has a mech done already, of course, with that urn, as well as the arcane boots. And yeah, I mean, they're going to just look for this tower bottom, and it looks like Blink and, of course, his team want to try to fight this, but this is going to be very, very difficult to defend here. No fortification available. I honestly don't think they should really come out, but Reavers doesn't care. He's going to go right in with the Reality 4-second stun, and Castanet's going to get that kill. Meanwhile, the Jesus taking some damage. Nature's Wrath doing a little bit of damage coming out from Cakes right now, and they're just going to push that creep wave back, take the kill, and look for the tower. So despite Swag's best efforts, they're actually going to relocate into the base right now. For whatever reason, they notice this is coming. Reavers doesn't care, wants to go on the Sand King. I don't think they have any real range to get there, unfortunately, so they're just going to sit back here, wait for that relocate to stop, and then they're going to get sent back to where they came from, which is not very far away. It's not a long travel time. And they're going to look for this tier 3 tower, but no, they're going to re-outer rift in on the Sand King. He's going to try to get out of there, of course, with that Sandstorm, but a lot of damage on Zilu. Of course, the Mask of Madness helping Riki get that kill. Skewer ain't going to miss everybody. Riki with another kill. Double kill, reverse polarity, doesn't matter. Reverse polarity used again from Sheep, stealing it once more. Double kill for the Rubik. And man, that Rubik's been playing out of control. Another team wipe going to go down, and it's got to be GG at this point. This is a tier 3. There is a 4, but I mean, at this point, there's no way they're going to stop this.
What more can you say? As just, it's... I mean, what more can you say? Everything went wrong for Swag. They didn't have the best decision making. Their lanes pretty much all lost, and they're getting punished for it appropriately. With this lineup, if they snowball, they will snowball out of control. They have a lot of split push. Ricky, of course, does immense amounts of damage throughout the game. Wisp Castanet, of course, is a very, very momentum-based duo, and once they get their mojo rolling, it is gonna be next to impossible to stop for any team. So you're gonna have to punish them by sort of making them lose in the early game, but Swag really could not get any of that rolling, and now they're paying the price. Sand King really not doing too much. Magnus couldn't do too much either. Shao Demon, of course, getting picked off relentlessly. Shao Demon's not even level 6. I don't even think he'll hit level 6 by the time this game ends, which is kind of sad when you think about it.
Yeah, now the Jesus in some trouble as well. Disruption's going to go. Furion's going to TP in right now. Meanwhile, Sheep picking up a kill, as well as Rebrews. Jesus taking some damage from Nature's Wrath. Beyond godlike streak for Goody at this point. Of course, there's going to be that Tether Stun to bring that Sand King out of the Sandstorm, and Pandago's going to pick up that kill. Chaos Bolt going on to Zilu, and he is going to go down for sure, as that's a 4-second stun. With a double kill for this Chaos Knight, they're going to look for the tier 3 tower mid, and everyone's dead again. except for Static, who does respawn fairly quickly. Level 5 for him right now, as you can see. Like you said, not even level 6 yet. Reaper is going to take some tower damage, doesn't really care. They're going to take the tier 3 mid, and as well as the Raxus. 36-3 at this point. They do get a kill on the Riki. The Riki does, in fact, go down, so they do pick him up. That's going to be a nice little victory for them, but at the same time, you could definitely say that everything went wrong for Swag, or I guess everything went extraordinarily right for Typical Mistakes. I think the draft at the end there, really good pickup for them. Meanwhile, Sand King's going to do that bro strike in down to Reviewers. Of course, reverse polarity going to go. No, tether stun, 2-second stun now. And he's not even going to be able to get that reverse down. He's going to go down before it hits. Spell stolen from Iron Sheep sucks. Disruption. And that wall is still down on the ground, as you can see. And Raxus are going mid. And it's just at this point,
I mean, Rubik has a Hyperstone. That sort of illustrates the story of the game.
He needs that attack speed.
Yeah, with the overcharge, he's hitting like an absolute... Well, not really a truck. More of like a Volvo.
Volvo. Rubik the Volvo. Oh, well, those Raxus are going to go down mid right now. Tier 4s. Nope. GG is going to be called, so it looks like Zulu is going to tap out here real quick. And, well, Typical Mistakes in their first game. They're looking very strong right now. Epicenter just going off for no apparent reason. But once again, thank you for joining us. This is the Raidcall EMS Summer 1 qualifiers for the Americas. Got plenty more games ahead of you. Of course, this is the round of 32. We've got, of course, the round of 16 as well as the quarterfinals before we're done today. We have the semifinals as well as the finals tomorrow evening at the same time for you guys. And yeah, I mean, it looks like Typical Mistakes. I mean, they just took whatever they got at this point, and they got a lot, I think, from Swag in this game. They got a lot of certainly kills, you could say, early on. I mean, there was 10 or so before, you know, the 10-minute mark, and that just gave them so much farm on their, not only their supports but their carries as well. Gonna take the tier 4s, look for the Ancient as well, and yeah, I mean, they had a great game right now, so.
Yeah, and there are definitely openings for Swag to exploit, but unfortunately they didn't have the movement, and really a lack of experience most likely, as Typical Mistakes definitely showing that they were definitely the better players in this game, and that is going to be the end of this game. So we'll see if Typical Mistakes can sort of keep this momentum going into the next match, or we'll see if their draft can sort of be exploited a little bit more. But yeah, that was very, I mean, that's as one-sided a game as it can possibly get, so hopefully we'll see a couple more competitive games in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for joining us, guys. Make sure you follow us here on this channel, twitch.tv/national_ESL1. Of course, make sure you check out nationalesl.com. If you enjoyed our casting, you can follow me at Maut2, and B-Ball, where can they find you?
YouTube.com/bballin773 and Twitter.com/bballin773.
All right, guys. We're going to jump into a break real quick to see if the next game's up, and we'll be right back, so hold on tight, guys.